Taking time for us this morning from the nation's capital is Louisiana, U.S. Senator John Kennedy. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to Keel. How you doing this morning?
I'm well. Hello, Robert. Hello, Aaron.
Hey, this is I'm freaking out, John. Let me start with the headline. Senate passes bill to end Trump national emergency. The good news is with less than veto-proof majority. Let me start here because you sided with the president on this one, as did Senator Cassidy. Let me start here. What is it? I know what I know what they don't get about the emergency at the southern border. But how is it that so many Republicans, and what do you think the reason is that so many of the guys who are supposed to be on our side, in my mind, betrayed the president in his effort to secure the border?
The president lost the vote. We lost the vote because, of course, all the Democrats voted to overrule him because, frankly, they just don't believe we should have a border. I think there were 12 Republicans that joined with the Democrats because they believe, I don't agree with them, but they believe that the National Emergencies Act that Congress passed is bad policy.
I don't remember them, pardon me, I don't remember this kind of hissy fit on the Republican side, this sort of party betrayal, if you will, when President Obama declared a number of emergencies. What's the difference now? Why do you think that do they have it in for President Trump?
Well, that you make an excellent point. And my argument to my colleagues was and is that you may not like the National Emergencies Act, but Congress passed it. If you don't like it, change it. But in the meantime, President Trump is not doing anything that past presidents haven't done 61 times, and he is using power that he has, whether you like it or not, given to him by the United States Congress. Now, obviously, I wasn't persuasive enough, but this is the bill overriding or overruling, rather, the president is going to go to the president, and he's going to knock it out of the park with a veto. And there aren't enough votes in Congress to overturn his veto, to override his veto. So we'll be right back to square one. I happen to believe that we do have a crisis at the border. I mean, all you have to do is go down there and look, and you'll see it. And one way to stem that crisis is to extend the wall. The president's not talking about a wall from one end to the other. The border's 1,900 miles, and he's talking about adding about 250 miles to the 600 miles we have already at the really tough trouble spots.
Senator Kennedy, you can hear in my voice. You vote on this, you defeat the president's emergency, then he vetoes it, you don't have enough votes to override it. You guys seem to just love to waste time, which in essence wastes my money. And we have so many more important things that we need you guys working on. What is the answer to that? All this divisiveness, I guess, it makes me so frustrated.
Makes me frustrated too, man. As bad as it looks from the outside, you ought to see it from the inside. I don't begrudge my colleagues, either Democrats or Republicans, for voting their conscience. But what I try to tell them is, look, follow your heart, but take your brain with you. And to me, if you go read the law, if you know a law book from an LL Bean catalog, there it is, clear as a bell, big as Dallas. The president has this power. And there were some of my Republican colleagues that were upset that he has the power. And I said, well, fine. After we finish this vote, we can debate whether to change it. But in the meantime, he's got the power, and we've got a crisis on our border. But I lost the argument, and I was. As you can tell from my voice, I was disappointed. The president's going to veto it, so the wall will eventually get built. But it is frustrating. The other frustrating thing up here, quite frankly, is that I never thought I would ever be standing on the floor of the United States Senate debating anything, but because I never thought I'd be in the Senate, but I sure didn't think I'd be standing on the floor of the U.S. Senate debating whether we ought to adopt socialism. Our Democratic Party has been taken over by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez from New York. She's entitled, this is America, you can believe what you want. But Trump ran on a message, which I happen to agree with, make America great again. We're a great country. We've gotten a little off track. Let's get it back on track. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's motto is, you can't make America great again because it's never been great because it was evil when it started. We're all racist and sexist and misogynistic, and capitalism doesn't work, and we've got to go back to socialism and let the federal government tell you what to believe and think and teach your kids. And
John, you open an interesting discussion. Because, as you know, Beto O'Rourke from Texas declared his candidacy for president, I think it was yesterday. All along, since the Democrats started announcing, all the candidates started throwing their hats in the ring, I've been making a list of the things that all the Democrat candidates for president are for. Let me run those down real quick. Open borders, government-run health care, unlimited unfettered abortion up until birth, sometimes beyond, reparations for slavery, gun control confiscation, Green New Deal, free college, and student loan forgiveness. All of them are for that. How on earth do any of them think they can win with that kind of, with those policies?
And higher taxes to pay for all of it, up to 70%. Look, I mean, to me, it's breathtaking, Robert. The Congresswoman, she's 29 years old, and again, this is America. You can believe what you want, but she has totally taken over the Democratic Party. Every Democratic presidential candidate is scared to death of her. They all bow down to her. When she said, let's do a Green New Deal, they said, where are they? All signed up. And I've just never seen anything like it. I mean, she's a socialist. She's a communist.
John, if you had to speculate now, and there's a lot of, I don't want to say reasonable thinking Democrats because I'm not sure those exist, but the concern among moderate Democrats, if you can find one, is that these radical left stances are literally going to give Donald Trump 40 or 45 states in 2020. Do you agree?
I hope. But I just... It's just breathtaking. That's the only way I can describe it, Robert. I mean, there are some moderate, if you will, reasonable Democrats. I think of Mark Warner. I don't agree with Mark on everything, but we agree on some things. But the reasonable Democrats are scared to say anything. They all just fall in line like sheep. And it would be one thing if we were debating, whether we should spend more on the military or more on welfare. People disagree on that. I get it. We're talking about whether we should reject capitalism and adopt socialism. We're talking about Ms. Ocasio-Cortez wants us to cut military spending in half and bring all of our troops home, no longer defend Japan or Europe or Israel. She wants to outlaw all oil and gas in 10 years. She wants all of us to give up our cars and use mass transit. She wants everybody to have free health insurance, which will cost $3 trillion a year. The whole budget is only $4.5 trillion. She wants the government to guarantee everybody a job, and if you don't want to work, we'll give you the money anyway.
Sign me up for that.
People are taking this seriously.
Yeah.
Serious people.
Oh.
I mean, you may like or dislike her, but I know her. Elizabeth Warren is a very smart person. Now, Elizabeth and I don't agree on much. But to see all of them fall into line and listen to Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, who's 29 years old, and I'm not saying, knocking her because she's young, but they're scared to death of her.
Well, Johnny,
And I can't wait for her to come to Louisiana and campaign down here.
Mr. John, let me wrap it up with this. As to wax biblical, a child shall lead them hopefully off the plank.
Yeah, well, I'm with you, man.